The James Show Podcast.
Because I feel like there's an opportunity here. I know, good to see you too. I feel like there's an opportunity here in the shutdown situation to where there's supposed to be the great food stamp crash out of 2025. It's going to happen on November 1st when people's food stamp cards don't refill. And we're being told that, well, there's going to be chaos and people are going to be starving and there's going to be mass, shoplifting or whatnot. But really, I feel like there's an opportunity here because if we can get off of our butts and actually go donate a whole bunch of money to food banks and whatnot, and the whole world sees that we don't even need food stamps, it's enough that we can cover anyone who wants it, then why turn food stamps back on? If we can just prove that we don't need them for a month, we can make the case that we never needed them in the first place. WFAA kind of points you in the right direction here. You know what our focus should be on? Food bank donations.
Soon, millions of Texans will not be getting their SNAP food benefits, leaving families worried about how they will put food on the table. That includes Kyron Elmore in Plano. She told us she works multiple jobs, cleaning houses and driving for Uber and working part-time at Home Depot. Now, she's raising 2 children, and one of them has autism. When she got the notification benefits will not be going out on November 1st, she had some mixed emotions.
Anxiety, a little bit of fear, trying to just have faith in God, that God is going to provide. It's something that I don't want them to ever worry about. I would rather worry about.
Despite those SNAP benefits going on hold soon, the USDA says the WIC program will continue through the shutdown, providing food assistance to pregnant women, new moms, and young kids. The department using tariff money to keep that program going.
All right, so food stamps are still, in the course of American history, a relatively new program. And for most of American history, we didn't have a federally subsidized food stamp, EBT, whatever you want to call it, program. And we still fed poor people. And it went through private voluntary donations. A lot of it was the job of the church. In fact, that was the job of the church going back to Jesus. And it's something you read about in history. That one of the reasons why, in the beginning, the Romans were persecuting the Christians. After a while, they backed off because they were like, why are we persecuting these people? All they do is feed poor people and give free medical care to sick people. And so you talk about like one of the 2 biggest drivers of our socialist government spending today is what? Taking care of poor people, feeding poor people, and what? Medical care for sick people. I mean, that's, aside from just the flat out other handouts, I mean, that's like the majority of our budget. If we turn that back over to the church, where it had been for all of Western civilizational history until LBJ, we're talking about 2,000 years here, people. Then what? We could cut the government in half. We could cut your taxes by more than half. Go break down the federal budget. More than 70% of it is just straight up social programs, socialism, taking some dollar from you and giving it to somebody who's not an employee of the federal government. So whether it's food stamps or unemployment or Medicare or Medicaid or Social Security, I mean, we could cut the government by about 3/4 if we just assumed the responsibilities of being charitable that we nationalized. Charity is not something that is forgotten about in a free market capitalist society. It is an industry. Notice how we nationalized it. How can you nationalize something that's not already an industry? So I think we have a real opportunity here. But what does that mean? All of us who are running our mouths and enjoying the people who are going to have to figure out the hard way that they can feed themselves. There's a little bit of an onus on us to go donate to your food bank. And I don't mean you have to go to the nearest Super One and get a bunch of cans and go drop them off at the food bank. You could get on your phone. There's probably an app or a website, and you can go make a monetary donation without even getting out of your car, without even getting off your butt. Wherever you're at right now, you can do it with your phone and your left hand. And if we step up here and we fill the gap and we take care of each other and we prove that we can take care of each other without the federal government's help, we can make the case that the federal government can stay out of it forever. But another thing we're learning is just the sheer entitlement of some of these people. Wouldn't that be nicer if their entitlement was based at people for private voluntary donations and not they're bragging about money that is taken from you involuntarily by force? I think societally speaking, we'll get along a whole lot better if we return to that.
So I get $3,000 in food stamps. Obviously it's 8 of us, so you do the math. That's why I get $3,000. I have no income, so obviously I'm gonna get the full benefit amount. Does that make you mad too?
No.
Does it make you mad that the government is helping me feed my children?
No.
Does that make you want to punch me in my face?
No.
Does that make you angry? Does that make you shiver in your boots?
No.
Yeah. Be mad. Stay mad.
See, so I'm not mad. I don't want to punch you in the face. I'm not shivering in my boots. I just want you to go out there and find out that, you know what? You're a sentient human being who has the capabilities of feeding yourself. I believe in you, and I can't wait for you to find out. I can't wait for you to do what most of us did when we were 18 and we turned into adults. You know, part of being an adult is the ability to take care of yourself. Children are the ones who need caretakers. Wards of the state, disabled people need caretakers. Maybe really old people who are in the last few days of their life and they're in the hospice, they need caretakers. But right there in the middle where you're a fully grown, non-disabled adult in the richest country the world has ever known, no, I'm not mad at you. I don't want to punch you in the face. There's no anger over here. In fact, if I'm angry at anyone, it's the people that have kind of calcified you into this perpetual adolescence where you never become an adult and learn how to feed yourself. I'm kind of mad at the people who treat you like a zoo animal. Well, we got to feed them. If we don't feed them, they don't know how to feed themselves. They're just going to die. No, they're not. Lady, you're not stupid. I'm tired of people treating you like you're stupid. And you're like, yeah, hey, that's me. Give me the free stuff. This is Cricket and Mineral Wells. You're on WBAP. Hey, Cricket.
Hi, I just want to know something. If the government is shut down, does the senators and the House of Representatives, do they get paid?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, why don't they cut their salaries off?
It wouldn't make much of a difference anyway.
That would make them make some adjustments.
Dude, Chuck Schumer's worth like $60 million. You think he cares about his piddly little $174,000 salary?
Yeah, he would. Money talks.
Okay.
I don't care if it's $100 a month.
Well, Cricket,
he'll say something.
I mean, what this betrays is this isn't really a government shutdown. This is like maybe 20% of one branch of the 18 layers of government that we have hanging over all of our heads. So, no, this is a good point out that you're doing here to show that it's not even really a shutdown. It's just temporary bout of chaos so they can act all dramatic on TV and continue to spend more of our money.
Yeah, but the thing about it is it's making us all in bad shape.
I'm not in bad shape. I'm happy. I'm fine.
Well, I am too, but there's a lot of people that aren't.
Who?
I'm thinking of the other people.
Right. Like, so, but who?
This is not hurting me, but I'm hurt. I'm looking at the food stamps and I'm looking at the Social Security and I'm looking at the military and people that really work for us.
Fair enough.
We need to cut them off too. The people that work in our government that's making all these so-called decisions that they're not even living off of their own decisions.
Is your real name Cricket?
Yes.
Oh, what a great name. All right. Well, thanks for calling in from Mineral Wells. Don't be a stranger. What about the idea of if you don't put into the system, you shouldn't get a say-so in the system? I'm gonna paraphrase the Steven Crowder rule, which is basically if you don't contribute to society, you don't get a say in how it is governed, which translates into if you're pulling off the system and not putting into it, you shouldn't be allowed to vote. Oh. Well, what do we think about that? For all instances of statecraft that are this philosophical, this ethereal, I like to go back to the Founding Fathers. What was the system the Founding Fathers set up? The Founding Fathers, first off, had a system where there wasn't any charity that was done through the federal government. So there wasn't anyone that was taking out of the system. However, did they only let people who were putting into the system vote? Ooh, that's interesting. Because you hear a lot of criticism of, well, the Founding Fathers didn't set up a real free, equal democracy. First of all, only rich landowners could vote. Only wealthy white men could vote. Well, hang on a second. If you're in a country that doesn't have like a national sales tax, it doesn't have national income tax, and doesn't have stupid little gas taxes that go to the federal government every time you buy gas, or these chintzy little charges that are on your cell phone bill. Without any of these other federal taxes, how else are you paying into the system other than property taxes? And if you look at it like that, well, only property owners are really paying taxes. That and, the tariff guys. But if only property owners are paying taxes, then shouldn't only property owners get a say-so in how that money is spent? So that's one way to look at it. I'm not saying I agree or disagree with it, because I am not so well versed in all the different revenue streams of the colonial government or post-colonial government that I feel real strong in that, but you can kind of feel the sort of same sensibilities being applied in that situation. Of course, property owners should get a say-so in how that money's spent. That's their money. But what about all these other people? What about the people that live on the property? What about the people who pay tariffs? You know, they talk about who pays the tariffs. Well, when the tariff shows up, if you want to get it out of the customs house, whoever the buyer is on this side of the pond is the one ultimately responsible for taking care of it, whether that comes out of him or the guy who pushed the boat off from the other end of the ocean is going to cover it. Makes no difference. The cost is going to be borne out by the person on this side. Do they get to pay taxes too? So then you run into the weird, okay, so if you only get to vote if you're putting into the system, then at the very beginning of the country, it would be property owners and the fellows who are paying tariffs, and that's about it. But I like the idea also because there's the biblical notion in Thessalonians, he who is unwilling to work shall not eat, not he who doesn't work. You know, if you're disabled and you can't work, or if you're sick, or if you're in a coma, but he who is unwilling to work shall not eat. Okay, that kind of goes along with it. But you know that's not going to pass. I mean, you know this is just a conversation that you and I are kind of having for fun, because even though it sounds like there could be some logic into it, there could be some rationale, some justice to it. You know that'll never pass. You know that'll never happen anytime soon. But I love having this discussion because it's sort of the taxation without representation in reverse. You flip it on its head. You have all these people have representation without taxation. And I was playing you the lady in the last segment who was bragging about how, hey, I get $3,000 or whatever it is. And
so I get $3,000 in food stamps. Obviously it's 8 of us, so you do the math. That's why I get $3,000. I have no income, so obviously I'm gonna get the full benefit.
So she gets to vote, but she doesn't have a job. So not only is she taken out of the system, she's not putting into the system. So without her producing anything, the only money that she spends is money that comes from us. So even when she does pay sales taxes and whatever taxes that are kind of gleaned from her from the spending she does do, it was our money to begin with. It's all with taxpayer dollars. So she's never putting into the system. She is only taking out. So this lady gets to vote. And what's her incentive to ever lower taxes? None. She doesn't pay any. What's her incentive to ever reduce spending? None. She's the one the money's being spent on, and she's not putting into the system, so it's not her money being wasted. So when you look at the Crowder rule just from the simple angle of incentives, this is a real ugly thing that we've created, where some people are voting for a living. That's what we've turned it into. And I think that's what the Crowder rule might get rid of. But then how on earth do we implement that? Because you're going to be called racist. You're going to be called heartless. You're going to be called literally Hitler. But if we're already being called racist, heartless, and literally Hitler either, then now what's stopping us? So while we're making fun of these people, and rightfully so, I mean, we have this eternal adolescence, this entire segment of society that just has refused to be an adult. And watching them go into adulthood is going to be delicious. But let's take advantage of this situation, because if we actually handle this good, you know, people with means, people who can donate, people who are in a position to not only feed their own kids and themselves, but maybe have a little bit left over for others. Let's get some donations just flowing in there. Now, they all prefer monetary donations, but during the shutdown, food pantries are going to open extra drop-off centers at Dallas College campuses. So like at the Dallas College Brookhaven campus up in Farmers Branch, Dallas College West Center on Hampton Road, Dallas College, the North Lake campus on MacArthur. There's going to be a whole bunch of extra places that are opening up. Let's throw so much food at this problem that they won't have an excuse to turn it back on. This is a great chance to take advantage, because there's a very interesting moral debate that is sort of happening under this, where one side is calling you evil.
Now, slavery and police brutality aside, do you know how incredibly evil you have to be to deny someone food?
See, we have to prove that wrong. We're not denying anybody food. We're just cutting off the government program that forces taxpayers to fund it involuntarily. I'm not, look, if you go find some food, I'm not going to come slap it out of your hand right before it gets to your mouth. You know, you're going to be eating a cheeseburger at the last second. Parker's going to show up, boom, knock it out of your hand. That's not going to happen. If you can go get food, I don't want you to starve. I don't want anybody to starve. I'm not evil. I just don't want you to go through government to get it, which isn't evil. It's the way all of America worked up until the 60s, people. Here's another one.
I just had the worst shift at work. I'm in a horrible mood. I want to scream so loud that the back of my throat starts bleeding, but I can't. I have to keep it together. So I'm going to come on here and take it out on you. If you're watching this and you voted for Donald J. Trump, I hate you with every fiber of my being. The holidays are coming up. The holidays are coming up, and everybody's losing their SNAP benefits. People who have subsidized food cannot eat in the month of November. Literally Thanksgiving. And for those of you that are self-proclaimed fake-ass, disgusting piece of Christians, I hope you burn in hell for all eternity. I hope hell is real just so you can burn. Because you're taking joy in people starving during the holiday season or at all. You're laughing at them. You're eating burnt toast from 1492, making videos about how happy you are about lazy people losing their SNAP benefits. I hope you rot. I hope you live the most miserable existence imaginable. I'm not the tolerant left. I'm a and I hate you. Okay? Hope that clears that up. Awesome.
All right, it's cleared up. Well, I don't hate you. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope everyone that's hungry come November 2nd gets food, and I hope it's from private voluntary donations. You know, I love the idea that me and you are just some fringe, tiny fraction of the population, and most of the country is decent people who agrees with her. So if these people are going to starve, you mean all of the big-hearted, bleeding-heart liberals out there are going to sit on their hands and not donate any food and just let their neighbors starve? Do you mean you, lady, you're not going to do anything? Aren't you better than them evil Trump voters that you hate, those evil MFing Christians that you hate? Aren't you better than? Show us how much better you are. Donate so damn much food that no one misses a meal. I want all of these monsters to remain 300 plus pounds because y'all are so generous. Come prove me wrong. Come show me how evil and awful I am. Oh, you're not going to do that? No, you're not organizing big food drives here. You're just hating Trump voters. See, this is what I'm saying. This is a huge opportunity, y'all. If we step in, we could be the good guys, and it would be really hard for even the media to manipulate it. If all the Christians and good Team Red people get together, even if you're an atheist Team Red person, you get together and we can feed these people, we will be nothing but heroes. You understand that? This is Patsy in Flower Mound. You're on WBAP.
Hey, how you doing? I feel for them. I think there'd be a lot of people in this country that didn't eat, and I'm a Trump supporter, totally a Trump voter. And I just, I don't want anyone to go hungry. I completely see your point. Just what you've said in the past 20 seconds, I am going to go and get food. I will absolutely help. And hopefully it will get better. But I'm a housewife that hasn't worked for like 25 years. So, you know, we live in the land of the free. If you don't want to work, you don't have to work. And I have 2 kids. We all went to college. They're all performing right now. They have professional jobs. I don't have a professional job. So from what you were saying earlier, should I not be able to vote because I don't work?
Well, see, that was that was kind of the thought process when we talked about, for people that missed it, we were talking about the voting situation when the country first started, because that's the closest thing you can have to the will of the founding fathers. And when they say, you know, only men could vote, it was really only the head of the household could vote. It means you had 1 vote per estate. And so what that also meant is if in some jurisdictions, I've read that if you were a widow, you could vote. You were the head of that estate, and y'all were paying taxes. This estate was paying taxes, so this estate gets a say-so in how that money is spent. So when you ask in the current, like if we were going to go under the Crowder rule, would you be able to vote? I don't know. And I think I'd be willing to sacrifice the votes of housewives if it meant the votes of all these other people who don't work and or take away from the system more than they put in, lost their right to vote too, lost their say-so in having representation without taxation.
Okay, as a housewife, I would like to vote because I'm really a very active voter.
Sure.
But maybe it should be the people that pay taxes.
Well, look, if
we do pay taxes, believe me.
Oh, no, you absolutely do. Now, here's also some other mental exercise I like to do to myself. What if someone told me the opposite? What if they said, James, we're going to say men can't vote, or James, we're going to say white people can't vote, or James, people who are 48 years old can't vote? My first reaction would be, what are the results? Would we have a balanced budget? Would we have no more forever wars? Would we actually return the federal government to its constitutional bounds? Because if that would result in better government and less inflation and a balanced budget and a better economy, man, I'd be willing to make that trade in a second.
Oh, that's good. I don't know if I would be willing to. I think we're really blessed in this country to be able to vote. And don't get me wrong, I completely see your point. Again, I'm a conservative.
Patsy?
But
if women couldn't vote, Republicans would have won every single state in 2024.
Oh, well, I'm a Republican woman.
All right. So
I know what you're saying.
Yeah. It makes it a little more difficult, doesn't it? Great call. That's Patsy in Flower Mound. Joining me now is an expert on hunger in America, Dr. Cheryl Jackson on the James Show. So we have 42 million Americans that may not be getting their food stamps renewed on November 1st. Dr. Cheryl, there's some of them are listening to the show right now. Where should they go for help first?
Your guess, honestly, is as good as mine. I mean, we feed the hungry at Minnie's Food Pantry, so I would say to try to find a local food pantry in your community that can get food to you. The food pantries are the ones that actually distribute food. Food banks store the food, if you will. So you can call 211, and usually 211 will say, what zip code do you live in? You give them your zip code, and they say, well, what do you need? You say, I need food, and then they will tell you some of the food pantries or even sometimes churches that give meals or help feed the hungry.
Well, I noticed here in Dallas, there are some locations that they were talking about on WFAA. Are these new locations that opened up? The one that's like at Brookhaven and a couple of the other college outlets. Are those normal drop-off spots?
Well, you're correct. They are fairly new, and they are not all open to the public. So that's what you have to be careful of. Some of the new ones are really servicing a segregated area. Some of them could be on college campuses, so they only are serving those students that's on those campuses. Although the news media is just showing that there are different ways that we are trying now to feed the hungry and feed college students or students in schools, because we have food pantries inside of schools, but we service those schools only. But Minnie's Food Pantry as a standalone location, we service all zip codes. And that's one of the things that unfortunately people need to be aware of, is if they need a meal, when they find a place, they need to call and say, I live in this zip code, because some food pantries don't serve all zip codes. They only have limited zip codes that they're willing to serve. But Minnie's Food Pantry, we believe that hunger doesn't have a zip code and that everyone deserves a right to a meal. And so no matter where you live, we've been here for 18 years and we've never turned one person away.
All right, we're talking with Dr. Cheryl Jackson, Minnie's Food Pantry. If someone wants to help out, how do they help out there?
Well, you can go to minniesfoodpantry.org, and that's MINNIES foodpantry.org. And there's so many ways. Some people tell me, Cheryl, we don't have money. Okay, then you have your time. You can come and volunteer and serve. You can be a voice. Social media, you can, even if you don't have money or time, post on social media that I support Minnie's Food Pantry or whomever you support, so that people will be aware that there are organizations out here that are trying to stand up to this crisis that we're faced as Americans.
Well, I hear from other food banks that I've talked to throughout my radio career, they say the number one thing you can do is not donate cans and not even donate your time, but monetary donations are actually incredibly useful. Is that what you would say at Minnie's Food Pantry?
I would say that. And the reason why we say that is because we have some strategic partners. And so sometimes you may pay $1.50 for a can of corn, and we're able to get that same can for 30 cents because we buy in bulk. And so a lot of the food pantries and food banks, they do have partnerships. So your dollar goes a long way when you actually give the dollar versus you going out and purchasing. But either way, at this point, every food pantry will be grateful for whatever you decide you want to do.
All right,
It's a crisis.
Dr. Cheryl Jackson, we may be having a run on food banks here in the next few days. If you need more help, assistance, money, hands, reach out to us. I'll put the word out to the WBAP audience because we want to help out as much as possible.
Oh, we do. Let me explain something to
Sure.
you. This is before the government shut down. We had put it out that if you need a Thanksgiving meal, we're signing it up. The first day we opened up our Thanksgiving line, we had 2,000 families signed up. And that's 2,000 families saying, we don't think we'll have a Thanksgiving meal. I closed it down and said, okay, let's reopen it again. We had 800 families signed up. So now we're looking at 2,800 families. And this is before the SNAP benefits were cut, are going to be cut November 1st, that said, we don't think we will have a Thanksgiving meal. So I tell you now, our shelves are emptying out quickly. We have more families that signed up last week than we've ever had. This is like, it's reminding me of COVID, but it's on a larger scale because there's so many people that are affected by these food stamps and the government shutting down. So I speak on behalf of Minnie's Food Pantry and all food pantries in North Texas. We will all need help. We will all need help.
All right, this is Dr. Cheryl Jackson from Minnie's Food Pantry, minniesfoodpantry.org. Hey, touch base with us next week. I want to check in on how you're doing, okay?
I will do it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. To the phones we go. This is Ashley. Hey, Ashley in Dallas. You're on WBAP.
Hey, James. Appreciate the conversation.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think another point that I wanted to add is when you have all this government programs and all this funding for it, same reason we're shut down right now is a part of that, is you eliminate the Democratic voter base by eliminating these programs. And, I hear a lot, some of your clips were kind of funny. Some people are pretty upset. But if you turn around, I don't see the taxpayers throwing the same kind of fight out there. You don't hear the same people. I don't like to have to pay when I go out and find a job. I find work no matter what furlough I go through or layoff. You find work, you make it happen. And as a taxpayer, I don't get a choice. And so, that part's a little upsetting, but we're not out there jumping up and down. And I have no problem donating time, food, money, energy, and effort to helping people make sure that they're fed.
Well, don't just say that. Go donate some money now that you said that. Look, even if it's just $20, and I'm not just saying that to you, Ashley, everyone listening, if that's the way you feel, then put a few bucks on it. Look, I'm not saying you got to miss your rent coming up this month or you've got to go into poverty. You got $20, you got $40, you got $100. Let's do something about this. Let's prove them wrong. Let's show, we have a great chance to show them we're not the evil Nazis that they think we are. We're actually here to do good. We want what's best for poor people, and what they've been told about us is a lie. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. Your response to the great food stamp crash out of 2025 continues next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.
The James Show Podcast.